Welcome, my friends, to an exploration of Middle-earth that dives deep into the stories behind the shadows. Today, we'll embark on a journey through the dark and mysterious history of the Nine Rings of Power, their doomed bearers, and the ominous Nazgûl they became. Drawing directly from Tolkien's legendary works like The Lord of the Rings, The Silmarillion, and Unfinished Tales, this is not just a story. It's a glimpse into the soul of Middle-earth, where glory and tragedy walk hand in hand. From the whispers of Númenórean lords who reached for greatness to the haunting cries of the Ringwraiths that echo across the ages, each tale we uncover is a thread in the grand tapestry woven by J.R.R. Tolkien. We'll trace the steps of those who bore the Nine Rings, watch as their humanity erodes, and confront the grim reality of their eternal servitude to Éowyn. If you've ever wondered how the mightiest of men fell to darkness, or what it truly means to be ensnared by the power of a ring, this is your moment to delve deeper. Get ready to experience the chilling dread of the Wraith World and the bittersweet legacy of weapons forged to fight the shadows. Let's step into this world together and unravel the truth behind the terror of the Nazgûl. Stick around until the end, where we'll discuss how Tolkien's storytelling still resonates with us today. But for now, let's begin where it all started, with the gifting of the Nine Rings. When Sauron forged his grand plan to dominate Middle-earth, the Nine Rings of Power became his most cunning tool. These were no ordinary trinkets. They were meticulously crafted under his watchful eye in the fires of Arion. While Kor, the elven smith, crafted the rings with noble intentions, Sauron's deception ran deep. He infused each with his malice, ensuring they would bend to the dominion of the One Ring. The recipients of these Nine Rings were men, ambitious, powerful, and ultimately fallible. Among them were three Númenórean lords, descendants of a mighty lineage. Their lands and kingdoms were already vast, their influence undeniable, and yet the promise of greater power, immortality, and dominion over their realm proved irresistible. This was the first step in their downfall, a lure that no mortal could escape. At first, the rings seemed to deliver exactly what was promised. These men thrived, their kingdoms flourished, and their names became legends. They became kings of great splendor, warriors of unmatched skill, and sorcerers who unlocked secrets hidden from mortal eyes. The rings heightened their ambitions, feeding their egos and swelling their desires. But as time marched on, the price of their power began to surface. Unbeknownst to them, the rings were not gifts of freedom, but shackles of servitude. Slowly, their wills were eroded, their thoughts darkened by Sauron's influence. The power that once lifted them to unimaginable heights began to hollow them out. Their lives stretched unnaturally long, and their bodies faded, leaving behind shadows where men once stood. Thus began their transformation into wraiths, forever bound to the will of their dark master. This is the tragedy of the Nine Rings. What began as symbols of glory and strength became the chains of an eternal curse. It was Sauron's brilliance and cruelty combined to use the mortal desire for greatness as the very weapon that would enslave them. And so, the Nine Rings carved the path for the rise of the Nazgûl, the spectral servants of darkness. The men who accepted the Nine Rings were not weak or insignificant. They were kings, warriors, and sorcerers who ruled with power and influence. But even the greatest of mortals were no match for the insidious will of Sauron. The transformation into Nazgûl, or Ringwraiths, was not immediate. It was a slow, agonizing erosion of their humanity. At first, the power of the rings brought prosperity and strength. These men became almost godlike in their abilities, commanding armies, building empires, and unlocking the secrets of the unseen world. However, with each use of their rings, they became more entangled in Sauron's web. Their ambitions grew darker, their thoughts more clouded, and their spirits increasingly detached from the mortal world. The true horror of their fate became clear as the years turned into centuries. Their physical forms began to fade, becoming shadows of their former selves. By the time their transformation was complete, they no longer resembled men at all. They were wraiths, spectral beings trapped between the living world and the shadowy realm of the unseen. They had no will of their own, existing solely to serve the Dark Lord. What's particularly chilling about the transformation is its permanence. Once ensnared by the rings, there was no escape. They could not die, nor could they reclaim their former lives. They became eternal puppets bound to Sauron's will, unable to find rest or redemption. Even their names, once symbols of power and legacy, were erased from the annals of history, replaced by the dreaded title of Nazgûl. Tolkien describes them as beings who walked in twilight, existing in a state of perpetual torment. Their new existence was defined by fear they instilled in others, and fear of their own master. Each Nazgûl bore the weight of their choices, a grim reminder of the cost of greed and ambition. From lords of men to slaves of darkness, their transformation was the ultimate tragedy. As the 9 rings claimed their souls, these once great men became something far worse than mere servants. They became extensions of Sauron's will, his most loyal enforcers, and his most feared agents. The world would come to know them as the 9 Riders, the Black Riders, the Nazgûl. But behind the shadowy cloaks and piercing shrieks lay the remnants of men who reached too high and fell too far. The fall of Sauron at the end of the Second Age was one of the most pivotal moments in the history of Middle-earth. It marked the temporary end of his dominion, but for the Nazgûl, it was far from a release. When Sauron was defeated on the slopes of Mount Doom and the One Ring was taken by Isildur, the Nazgûl, now fully enslaved to the power of the ring, were left in a state of limbo. Without the presence of the One Ring, the Nazgûl lost their ability to maintain physical form. They became formless wraiths lingering in the shadows, unable to act without the guidance of their master. For a time, Middle-earth knew a fragile peace. But those who understood the true nature of the Nazgûl knew that their absence was not a sign of their end, but a prelude to their return. Even in his disembodied state, Sauron's will endured. The Nazgûl, bound irrevocably to him, waited for the time when his power would rise again. Their loyalty was unshakable, not because of choice, but because the rings they bore had consumed their very essence. They were not independent beings, but extensions of Sauron's malice and domination. This liminal existence only emphasized their tragic nature. Unlike their master, who retained some semblance of agency as a spirit, The Nazgûl were utterly lost without him. They drifted in the void, neither living nor fully dead, waiting for the inevitable resurgence of their dark lord. And that resurgence would come. As Sauron began to re his strength in the dark corners of Middle-earth during the Third Age, the return of the Nazgûl marked the rekindling of Sauron's ambitions. When he rose again in the fortress of Dol Guldur, the Nazgûl became active once more, emerging from the shadows to enact his will. Their reappearance was not only a symbol of Sauron's growing power, but a chilling reminder that the darkness never truly dies in Middle-earth. It only waits. This cycle of servitude and resurgence defined the existence of the Nazgûl. They were not just servants of Sauron, they were manifestations of his lingering evil. Their presence served as a warning to all who underestimated the power of the One Ring and the reach of its creator. Though Sauron's body could be destroyed, the Nazgûl stood as proof that his spirit and influence could not be so easily undone. The story of Isildur is one of the most heart-wrenching and pivotal moments in the history of Middle-earth. A hero of his time, Isildur played a key role in the final defeat of Sauron at the end of the Second Age. Yet his legacy would not be one of triumph, but of tragedy, all because of the One Ring and its corrupting power. Isildur's moment of glory came when he cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand during the siege of Bardur. Armed with the broken blade of Nariel, he dealt the blow that brought the Dark Lord's physical form to ruin. But when the time came to destroy the ring, Isildur faltered. Standing on the very edge of Mount Doom, he claimed it for himself, calling it a token of his victory and a legacy for his line. It was a decision that would haunt Middle-earth for centuries. The ring's influence over Isildur was immediate and subtle. Once a noble and valiant leader, he became consumed by its allure. Though he justified his decision to keep the ring, he could not see the shadow it cast over his heart. It promised power and eternal glory, but in truth, it had already begun its work to bring about his downfall. This came to pass not long after the great victory. On his journey back to Gondor, Isildur and his company were ambushed by a horde of orcs in the Gladden Fields. Outnumbered and overwhelmed, Isildur's men fought valiantly, but it was a losing battle. In desperation, Isildur used the power of the ring to vanish from mortal sight, attempting to escape the carnage. But the ring betrayed him, as it had betrayed so many before and would betray countless others after. As he swam across the Anduin River to evade his pursuers, the ring slipped from his finger, abandoning him to his fate. Stripped of its protection, Isildur was discovered by the orcs and slain. His body was lost to the river, and the ring sank to the murky depths, hidden for generations. The tragedy of Isildur is a powerful lesson within Tolkien's legendarium. He was not an evil man, but the ring's corrupting influence preyed on his human weaknesses, pride, ambition, and a desire to preserve his legacy. In choosing to keep the ring, he not only sealed his own doom, but also set the stage for Sauron's eventual return. The legacy of Isildur serves as a warning of the peril that comes with possessing such a dangerous artifact. Sauron's defeat at the end of the Second Age left him disembodied, but not destroyed. His spirit lingered, scheming and waiting for the moment to rise again. The seeds of his return were sown in the shadows of Middle-earth during the Third Age, where his malevolent will began to take shape once more. Around the year 1050 of the Third Age, whispers of a dark power stirring in Greenwood the Great began to spread. This once vibrant forest, home to the elves of Thranduil, began to fall under a sinister shadow. Strange creatures crept through its trees, and a malign presence was felt by all who dwell near. Over time, the forest came to be known as Mirkwood, a grim reflection of its corrupted state. This dark power was none other than Sauron. Though he had not yet revealed himself openly for centuries, he operated from Dol Guldur, a fortress hidden deep within Mirkwood. Here he took the guise of the Necromancer, concealing his true identity even from the wise. His influence spread quietly but effectively, sowing fear and division among the free peoples of Middle-earth. During this time, Sauron began to call upon his servants, including the Nazgûl. The Witch-king, his most trusted lieutenant, was dispatched to lead the Nazgûl in furthering Sauron's plans. Their dark presence was felt across Middle-earth as they hunted for any trace of the One Ring, which they knew would bring their master back to full power. The return of Sauron marked a turning point in the Third Age. Though he was weaker than before, his malice and cunning were undiminished. He manipulated events from the shadows, stoking the fires of conflict and turning the hearts of men against each other. His influence even reached kingdoms like Gondor and Rohan, eroding their strength from within. Sauron's resurgence in Dol Guldur did not go unnoticed by the wise. The White Council, led by Saruman, Galadriel, Elrond, and Gandalf, debated the growing threat. Gandalf himself ventured into Dol Guldur and confirmed that the shadow in the forest was indeed Sauron. Yet, even with this knowledge, the road to confronting him was fraught with division, as Saruman secretly sought the ring for himself. The return of Sauron was a slow and insidious process, mirroring the gradual corruption he spread through the Nine Rings and the Nazgûl. By the time his full strength was revealed, it was almost too late to stop him. His rise serves as a reminder that evil, though it may be beaten down, is never entirely vanquished. It lurks in the darkness, waiting for the opportunity to strike again. The Nazgûl, or Ringwraiths, were not simply servants of Sauron. They were extensions of his will, weapons of fear and domination. Their presence alone was enough to chill the blood of the bravest warriors, and their powers made them nearly unstoppable agents of terror. As the Dark Lord's most loyal servants, their influence spanned centuries, leaving scars across Middle-earth. The power of the Nazgûl was rooted in the 9 rings they bore. These rings granted them access to the unseen world, a spectral dimension where they thrive. They could pass unnoticed by mortal eyes, moving as shadows and whispers. But their true menace lay in their ability to wield fear as a weapon. Tolkien described their presence as a pervasive malice, an aura of dread that could break the resolve of even the most stalwart hearts. One of their most infamous abilities was the Black Breath, a noxious aura that spread despair and illness. Those who came too close to the Nazgûl often found themselves overcome by a cold, oppressive despair that lingered long after the wraiths had passed. In battle, their shrieks, a piercing, otherworldly cry, could drive even the most seasoned warriors to their knees, paralyzed by terror. The Nazgûl were also formidable in physical combat. Though their strength did not come from brute force, they wielded weapons imbued with dark sorcery, such as the Morgul-blades, which inflicted wounds that could not heal. A shard of such a blade left in a victim's flesh would slowly transform them into a wraith, binding their soul to the unseen world. This made even the smallest scratch from their weapons a fate worse than death. Despite their spectral nature, the Nazgûl were not invincible. Certain weapons, like the Barrow Blades forged with ancient enchantments, could harm them. Their greatest vulnerability, however, was their reliance on the One Ring. Without Sauron's guidance and the power of the ring, they were significantly weakened, their physical forms dissolving into the shadows from which they came. The Nazgûl's power was not just a tool of war, but a psychological weapon. They represented the inevitability of Sauron's dominion, a constant reminder that resistance was futile. Whether hunting for the One Ring or leading army into battle, their presence turned the tide of events in Middle-earth, leaving an indelible mark on its history. The Witch-king of Angmar, leader of the Nazgûl, stood as Sauron's most formidable lieutenant. Among the 9 Ringwraiths, he was the most powerful and feared, wielding weapons and sorcery that struck terror into the hearts of all who opposed him. His rise to infamy and the dread he inspired made him one of Middle-earth's most iconic figures of evil. The Witch-king's weapons were extensions of his malice. His most infamous tool was the Morgul-blade, a cursed weapon designed to inflict wounds that could never fully heal. When Frodo was stabbed with this blade on Weathertop, a shard of the weapon remained lodged in his body, threatening to pull him into the Wraith World. The blade's malevolent intent was to corrupt the victim, turning them into a wraith under Sauron's control, a fate that loomed over Frodo until it was removed. In addition to his blade, the Witch-king wielded a massive black mace, which he used to devastating effect during the Battle of the Pina Fields. This weapon was not just a tool of destruction, but a symbol of despair. With every crushing blow, it shattered bodies and hopes alike, leaving those who faced him in utter ruin. His strength in battle was further amplified by his ability to instill fear, which often rendered his enemies powerless before he even struck. The Witch-king's armor was another key to his menacing presence. His helm, adorned with a jagged crown, symbolized his dominion and connection to the shadowy forces of Sauron. Clad in robes of darkness and steel imbued with sorcery, he was a towering figure of dread, seemingly impervious to conventional attacks. His spectral form, hidden beneath the armor, added another worldly dimension to his presence, making him appear more demon than man. Yet for all his power, the Witch-king was not invincible. Prophecies foretold his doom, notably the words of Glorfindel during the First Age. "Far off yet is his doom, and not by the hand of man shall he fall." This prophecy came to fruition during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, when Éowyn, Shield Maiden of Rohan, struck the fatal blow with Merry's enchanted Barrow Blade. Her defiance and courage in the face of overwhelming terror shattered the Witch-king's aura of invincibility, proving that even the darkest shadows could be vanquished. The Witch-king's legacy is a testament to the power of fear and the strength required to overcome it. As Sauron's right hand, he embodied the corrupting influence of the Rings of Power and the terror they unleashed. His fall marked a turning point in the War of the Ring, showing that even the mightiest servants of darkness could be defeated through bravery and hope. The Barrow Blades, ancient weapons forged during the Wars of Arna, were relics of a time when men stood united against the growing shadow of Angmar. Crafted by the Dúnedain, these swords carried enchantments meant to combat the evil forces of the Witch-king and his spectral army. Though simple in appearance, they were anything but ordinary. These blades were designed with precision and intent, etched with runes of power and adorned with serpent-like patterns of red and gold. The craftsmanship reflected the desperate hope of the Dúnedain as they faced the Witch-king's relentless assault. The blades held an eerie sharpness, untouched by the passage of time or the corrosive effects of the Barrow Downs, where they were later buried. The enchantments within the Barrow Blades was specifically tailored to harm creatures of the Wraith World. While conventional weapons would pass harmlessly through the spectral forms of the Nazgûl, these blades could pierce their essence, delivering fatal blows. It was one of these swords, wielded by Mary, that helped Awen strike down the Witch-king during the Battle of the Pella Fields, fulfilling Glorfindel's ancient prophecy. However, the history of these weapons is steeped in tragedy. The Barrow Blades were forged during Arna's final stand against the Witch-king of Angmar, a conflict that ended with the kingdom's destruction. The last remnants of Arna's resistance, unable to stem the tide of Angmar's forces, hid the blades in the Barrow Downs, where they lay forgotten for centuries. Their rediscovery by the hobbits in the Fellowship of the Ring was an act of fate guided by Tom Bombadil. Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin escaped the clutches of the Barrow Wight and armed themselves with the enchanted swords. Though the hobbits did not realize the full significance of their find, these weapons would play a pivotal role in the war to come, especially in the battle against the Nazgûl. The legacy of the Barrow Blades is a poignant reminder of the courage and ingenuity of the Dúnedain. Even in their darkest hour, they forged weapons capable of combating the shadow. Their story served as a symbol of resistance, hope, and the enduring spirit of Middle-earth's free peoples, proving that even the smallest tools can make a difference in the fight against overwhelming darkness. The Nazgûl were beings who existed in two realms simultaneously, the mortal world and the Wraith World. This spectral plane, also known as the Unseen, was a twisted, shadowy dimension where the rules of time and space were distorted. It was here that the Nazgûl thrived, their power and malice amplified by their connection to the Nine Rings and the One Ring. The Wraith World was not easily visible to mortals. Only those who bore rings of power, like Frodo when he wore the One Ring, could see its true nature. In this spectral dimension, the Nazgûl appeared in their full, terrifying form. No longer cloaked in black robes, they were revealed as pale, corpse-like figures, their hair ash-white and their eyes gleaming with cruel malice. They seemed to radiate an aura of death, embodying the decay and corruption of their existence. For the Nazgûl, the Wraith World was not just a place of power, but also their prison. The Nine Rings had severed their ties to the mortal world, trapping them in a lial state between life and death. They were bound to this spectral plane, unable to fully exist in either realm. This duality made them nearly invincible to conventional attacks, as their true essence lay beyond the reach of physical weapons. Frodo's brief glimpses into the Wraith World offered a haunting perspective. While wearing the One Ring, he saw the Nazgûl as towering and skeletal, their forms imbued with a dreadful clarity. The mortal world appeared faded and distant, as though viewed through a veil of shadow. This was the true power of the Wraith World. It blurred the lines between reality and nightmare, drawing those who gazed upon it closer to its corruption. The Wraith World was also a source of the Nazgûl's ability to track the One Ring. They did not hunt by sight or sound, but by sensing the ring's presence in the spectral plane. To them, the bearer of the ring shone like a beacon, impossible to hide from their relentless pursuit. This connection to the ring made them Sauron's most effective agents, capable of traversing great distances and instilling fear wherever they went. The Wraith World's oppressive nature was a reflection of the Nazgûl's existence, eternal, hollow, and dominated by Sauron's will. It was a place where light faltered, hope withered, and fear reigned supreme. For those who encountered it, the Wraith World was a harrowing glimpse into the full extent of Sauron's power, a reminder of the dangers posed by the rings of power and the shadow they cast over Middle-earth. The fall of Cardolan, one of the Dúnedain kingdoms in the north, marked the tragic end of an era. It was during the wars against the Witch-king of Angmar that this once proud realm met its demise. The kingdom, once vibrant and strong, was reduced to ruins, leaving behind relics of its defiance, most notably the Barrow Blades. Cardolan was a bastion of resistance against Angmar's growing shadow. Its people, descendants of Numor, were skilled in both combat and craftsmanship. The Barrow Blades forged during these desperate times were imbued with enchantments specifically designed to combat the Witch-king and his spectral minions. These weapons were the embodiment of hope in a time of despair, their steel etched with runes of protection and defiance. Despite their valiant efforts, the forces of Cardolan could not withstand the might of Angmar. The Witch-king's relentless assaults, coupled with treachery and dwindling numbers, led to the kingdom's collapse. Its lands were despoiled, its keeps reduced to rubble, and its people either slaughtered or scattered. The Barrow Blades, symbols of their resistance, were buried alongside the last of Cardolan's warriors in the Barrow Downs, their legacy left to slumber beneath the earth. The blades rested in the tombs for centuries, forgotten by all but a few. When the hobbits stumbled upon the Barrow Downs in the Fellowship of the Ring, they unknowingly unearthed a piece of this lost history. Saved from the Barrow Wight by Tom Bombadil, they were gifted the swords, each perfectly preserved despite the passage of time. Though the hobbits did not understand the significance of their find, the blades would prove essential in the battles to come. The legacy of the Barrow Blades came full circle during the Battle of the Pellow Fields. Merry, armed with one of these ancient weapons, struck a blow against the Witch-king, weakening him and allowing Éowyn to deliver the fatal strike. This moment not only fulfilled Glorfindel's prophecy, but also highlighted the enduring strength of Cardolan's defiance. Even in death, the kingdom's legacy continued to fight the shadow. The fall of Cardolan and the enduring power of the Barrow Blades serve as a reminder of the resilience of Middle-earth's free peoples. Though their kingdoms may crumble, their spirits and their creations live on, offering hope and strength to future generations. It is a testament to Tolkien's recurring theme. Even in the face of overwhelming darkness, the smallest and most forgotten things can play a crucial role in turning the tide of history. The terror of the Nazgûl extended far beyond their physical presence or combat abilities. Their greatest weapon was fear, a primal, soul-deep dread that they wielded like a blade. The mere mention of their name could chill the hearts of the bravest warriors, and their presence on the battlefield often sowed chaos before a single strike was made. This psychological power stemmed from the aura of despair they radiated. Tolkien describes their presence as suffocating, a blackness that seemed to extinguish light and hope. When the Nazgûl approached, the world itself felt heavier, colors dulled, sounds became muted, and the air grew thick with an almost tangible dread. This was no mere illusion. It was the manifestation of their connection to Sauron's malice and the Wraith World. One of their most fearsome tools was their piercing, otherworldly shriek. The sound was unnatural, a wail that cut through the air like a blade, freezing the blood of those who heard it. This cry was not just a sound, but an assault on the mind and spirit. Even the mightiest of warriors, such as Boromir, admitted to feeling their resolve weaken in the face of the Ringwraiths' unrelenting dread. The psychological impact of the Nazgûl was not limited to combat. Their ability to spread fear was a weapon of domination used to control and manipulate others. In the Fellowship of the Ring, their mere presence in the Shire caused unease among the hobbits, though most were unaware of the true reason for their discomfort. This subtle influence demonstrated the far-reaching effects of their dark power. However, the fear they instilled was not invincible. Characters like Aragorn, Gandalf, and Éowyn stood against them, proving that courage, hope, and resolve could withstand even the deepest shadows. Aragorn's defense of Frodo at Weathertop and Éowyn's defiance during the Battle of the Pinor Fields are prime examples of how bravery could pierce the veil of fear and inspire others to resist. The Nazgûl's psychological power highlights one of Tolkien's central themes: the battle between light and darkness within the hearts of individuals. While the Ringwraiths embodied the consuming fear of despair and domination, those who stood against them represented the resilience of hope and courage. This duality is what makes their presence in the story so compelling. They are both a force to be reckoned with and a reminder of the strength it takes to face one's fears. The Nazgûl were not merely agents of fear and destruction. They were practitioners of dark and unspeakable rituals that deepened their connection to Sauron and the Wraith World. These rituals served both as acts of servitude to their master and as displays of their corrupted nature, emphasizing the loss of humanity that defined their existence. One such ritual was their ability to drain life essence from their victims. In the Fellowship of the Ring, Frodo witnesses their malevolent power firsthand at Weathertop when he is stabbed by a Morgul-blade. The slow, creeping transformation that the weapon induces is not only a physical curse, but also a spiritual one, a way to draw the victim closer to the Wraith World and Sauron's dominion. The Nazgûl also demonstrated a macabre cruelty in their treatment of captives. Stories from the Third Age tell of their ability to instill terror in their prisoners, not merely through physical torment, but by stripping them of their will to resist. In some instances, their victims were used in sacrificial ceremonies, further strengthening the Nazgûl's ties to Sauron and their spectral power. These acts were not merely practical. They were psychological weapons designed to spread dread among the living. At Dol Guldur, the fortress where Sauron first began his return during the Third Age, the Nazgûl were known to perform rites that deepened the corruption of the land itself. Greenwood the Great became Mirkwood as their dark influence spread, twisting the forest into a place of shadow and fear. These rituals, shrouded in mystery, emphasized their role not just as hunters, but as harbingers of Sauron's growing power. One of the most chilling accounts of their dark practices comes from the War of the Ring, where their use of the Black Breath, the toxic aura they carried, laid waste to armies and strongholds. Those who survived exposure to the Black Breath were left in a state of despair, unable to recover their strength or spirit. This debilitating curse was as effective as any sword, breaking the morale of Sauron's enemies and ensuring their defeat before battle began. These rituals and acts of malice solidified the Nazgûl's role as more than enforcers of Sauron's will. They were agents of his corruption, spreading his influence and weakening the resolve of Middle-earth's free peoples. Their actions were a constant reminder of the costs of opposing the Dark Lord and the depth of the darkness they served. The One Ring was the linchpin of Sauron's power, binding all other rings of power to his will. For the Nazgûl, the One Ring was not just a tool of domination. It was the source of their existence and the key to their servitude. Without it, their power waned, and their forms became unstable. Yet they remained tethered to its fate, bound to hunt it relentlessly. The ring's influence over the Nazgûl was absolute. As bearers of the Nine Rings, they were initially gifted immense power, wealth, and longevity. However, the One Ring allowed Sauron to extend his dominion over them completely, reducing their wills to shadows of their former selves. They became mere extensions of his malice, incapable of independent thought or action. The One Ring's existence ensured their eternal servitude and their inability to escape the Wraith World. When the ring was lost, the Nazgûl were thrown into a state of dormancy. Without the One Ring to anchor Sauron's power, they could no longer maintain physical forms. Yet even in this diminished state, they were drawn to its presence, sensing its power whenever it was near. This connection was their primary purpose during the War of the Ring, to recover the artifact that defined both their existence and their master's strength. The Nazgûl's hunt for the One Ring was relentless and terrifying. In the Fellowship of the Ring, their pursuit of Frodo demonstrates their unwavering connection to it. The ring acted as a beacon to the Wraith World, shining brightly in their perception and making its bearer impossible to hide. This bond made the Nazgûl uniquely suited to track the ring, as they could sense it across great distances and through barriers of time and space. However, this connection was also their greatest weakness. The destruction of the One Ring would mean not only the end of Sauron, but the unraveling of the Nazgûl themselves. As the ring carried their master's essence, its destruction would sever their link to the mortal world, leaving them as nothing more than fading shadows. This ultimate vulnerability was a testament to the ring's dual nature. It granted immense power, but at a cost no one could escape. The relationship between the Nazgûl and the One Ring is one of complete dependency. It underscores Tolkien's recurring theme of power's corrupting influence. The ring, which initially promised greatness to all who bore it, became the source of their downfall, binding them eternally to Sauron's will. For the Nazgûl, there was no redemption, no escape, and no purpose beyond their connection to this singular artifact of darkness. If you've enjoyed this exploration of Middle-earth's darkest corners, let us know your thoughts in the comments. What moments from the stories of the Nazgûl resonate with you the most? Do you see them as symbols of ultimate evil, or as cautionary tales of what could happen to even the mightiest among us. We'd love to hear your perspective. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of Tolkien. Whether it's the heroism of the free peoples or the haunting legacies of the fallen, we'll continue to explore the depths of this timeless legendarium. Until next time, may the light of Arundel guide you, and may the shadow of the Wraith World never fall upon your path.